Ruslan.
Andrew Tate hit with more crimes, and the self-snitching keeps getting more and more outlandish. Someone get Bruce Rivers on the phone, okay? This is some really crazy stuff. Abba and Preach covered it. We're going to look at a couple different videos and the very uncomfortable tie-in with Candace Owens. They got charged with new stuff. They were held overnight. We're going to look at Tate's response at the end of this video.
Uh-oh.
But there's a lot here that we have to sift through. And I got to give you guys a heads up. Trigger warning, all the things. If you've been, connected to SA, all of the things, bad stuff we're going to discuss in this video.
Had your kids, had your wife.
Explicit, explicit,
explicit.
All right, let's get it.
Claimed Andrew Tate approached them on social media when they still attended school.
PhD is a pimp and hose degree.
So the recruitment process is, you message them on Instagram.
I was contacted by Andrew Tate, the older of the Tate brothers, 3 years ago when I was just 16.
Daria was 16 when she says she received a private message on Instagram 2 years ago from Andrew Tate's account. It read simply, Romanian girl, followed by a strawberry emoji.
What do you inbox the woman? I live in Bucharest, Romania. That doesn't matter if I'm in London, Bucharest, Moscow, anywhere I am. I just say, Bucharest, question mark, or Moscow, question mark, or London, question mark. Sometimes, because like I said, intrigue, I'll put a completely pointless emoji on the end. Some cherries, or an orange, or a strawberry.
I asked around my other friends and my classmates, who were also 15, 16 at the time, and a couple of them also told me they received messages.
So I messaged her, she's like, I'm on.
darkness.
That's not good. Oh no, what is this next one?
Yeah, pull this back a second. It gets worse. He's bearing himself. Now, I don't know if this stuff is admissible in court, but you left him a breadcrumb trail. Like from the moving people across state and country lines. He left a ton of breadcrumbs for that. And now, the fact that some of these folks were under the legal age in the United States, I don't know what the age is in other parts of the country for consent, but you got him on camera repeatedly saying these things.
Yeah.
Right? Go ahead.
So 15, 16 at the time, and a couple of them also told me they received messages.
So I messaged her, she's like, I'm only 16. I was like, give a fuck. Know about me.
It was a...
This is a sickness of the highest order.
I'm only 16. I don't give a F.
This
is not a character. If you still think this is a character he played, you got brainworms.
Yuck.
Like you're sick in the head. This is not a character he was playing. This is stuff he was saying unironically, seriously, while he was selling a course on teaching men how to do this with other women. Okay, that is what was happening. Now, somebody's going to say, well, the age of consent in Romania is 16.
Have you talked to a 16-year-old?
Have you had a conversation with a 16-year-old lately?
Like I know. Come on, guys. A conversation?
A conversation.
He's like 30.
He's in his 30s.
Ugh.
You wouldn't allow this man near your niece, near your daughter, near anybody that you love that was a minor, that was a woman. Okay, keep playing this.
Pretty well-known fact that he had kind of a network of young girls.
You know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck would I write for you? You've got a fit sister who's 16, maybe.
Muslims have the best.
Okay.
Guys, there's lots of sound bites of this man repeatedly saying this stuff. This is not like Donald.
Yeah, these are isolated, out of context clips.
This is not Donald Trump leaked audio from his trailer where he says, grab him by the vagina, you know?
Yeah.
This is like, he's giving details of the things that is crazy, and he's sitting on a podcast.
Yeah. And again, just another.
Had your kids, had your wife.
Explicit, explicit, explicit.
So what they hit him with is the fact that there are potentially minors involved in this situation. Now we're gonna let him get his stuff off at the end of this video because he came out and he did a rant, all that stuff. We're gonna look at all that. Okay.
I mean, it's like, what the fuck would I write for you? You've got a fit sister who's 16, maybe.
Muslims have the best frame on earth. I want a virgin wife at 16 who's going to obey me. That's what I want.
You know,
I just have to breathe between each and every single one of these. This one's
the worst.
It's not the worst. They're all really bad.
They're all really bad.
But this one, yeah, this one's high.
You said it looks like I'm in a teenage girl's bedroom.
Yeah.
To some people, that would be an insult, but to me, I find that quite flattering, to be honest.
I'll play this one. Okay. Hide your kids.
Hide your kids. Hide your
He
wife.
said,
Explicit.
Oh, we got the
Explicit.
receipts on her
Explicit.
husband. We got the receipts on her husband. You stay tuned.
He said to some people that would be a diss. To me, I find it quite flattering.
Yeah. What? Dude makes this case that perhaps they have something on Candace Owens.
Oh, no.
I don't know if they do. I'm not saying that's what they do. That's what this guy's saying. And this video is called What's Really Going On with Candace Owens and Andrew Tate. Now, I'm not saying, but one can pose questions. One can pose questions.
Simply posing questions.
I'm just simply posing questions. Tater tots and Candace Owens soy boys.
And Andrew Tate's lawyer.
And if you watch these conversations with Candace, she's had 2 now, a lot of what she's doing is defending him, running interference, not dealing with the actual charges, not dealing with the and so did Tucker Carlson too. He didn't deal with what he was actually charged with.
They're just trying to cancel him because he's speaking out against the LGTV.
No, he's trying to. He's getting charged with real things that he on camera has confessed to, and she let him just run interference and lie about the timeline. Some people are like, "This was 10 years ago." It wasn't 10 years ago. That's another lie that was said on his thing. A lot of this stuff was done to 2020 during the pandemic. This is 4 years ago, 3 years ago. He was making money off of this entire business as recent as 2 years ago, 2022, right? Go ahead.
Andrew for many, many years. I've known Andrew since
This is our husband.
before Andrew was Andrew. You know what I mean? I've known Andrew since before he was famous, I guess. Andrew is a great guy. He really is, and he's a wonderful guy in many ways. Like all humans, he's flawed.
As I was having this dinner with my husband and his friend, Andrew Tate was there. I had no idea who he was. This is kind of before he really took off on the internet. I had my assistant at the time with me, who happened to be Romanian. She's born in Romania, speaks Romanian, happened to have been in the United States. She spent a lot of the time that we were there talking to him. She comes over to me afterwards and she says, this guy, Andrew Tate, I think he's a pimp in Romania.
Wait, so her own assistant said that?
Her own assistant told her, this dude's a pimp. She then went on to give him 2 fluff interviews and run interference for him, lie about the timelines, lie about the dates.
Sex is a tool to make women love me so they'd obey me and live in my house and make me money. That's what I wanted. So I was a pimp in that sense.
I said, what? And she's like, no, I think he's like actually a pimp in Romania.
By taking girls who didn't know how to be effective on webcam, girls who had never done webcam before, girls who didn't have the equipment, didn't have the know-how, didn't have the will, didn't have the premises, didn't have the ability to make money with this exchange.
Off camera, I think he'll be the first person to admit that. Like he's a flawed human being.
Now, I think the issue here is that the softening of how serious what he's being accused of. And by the way, the first set of crimes is not what people are thinking it is. The first set of crimes is not you're hog tying women and throwing them in the trunk.
Yeah.
And that's not what that is.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what traffic is. Okay. The second set is now intentionally going after young girls and underage girls. And there was a clip, I want to say we'll get to it, where he says, what's the age of 15? What's the age of consent? 16, right? So he's, wherever the line is, he's going to press that line and try to recruit these women.
That's insane.
Keep going.
Create a system that allowed me to convince girls to do this, allowed me to retain 100% control of their income. I know how to make sure the girl can't...
Controlling their income, in the webcam business, controlling their income, not letting them have access to their accounts, is the definition of exploitation in this world. Now that definition has changed, but that is the actual definition. Go ahead.
I know Andrew pretty well, and like, you know, as I said, I know that he's full of flaws.
This is what it's going to come down to. It's going to be the Matrix. What do you get down when you go down a Matrix? Who's the Matrix? You know who's going to be the Matrix? It's going to be a word that rhymes with pews, and that's who's going to be at the end of this entire thing. That's going to be what the end of the bottom of the funnel for Tate, for Candace, for Fuentes is going to be the same bottom of the funnel people behind all of this. And it rhymes with pews.
Yeah.
That's who's going to be behind all of this stuff to them, which is a great scapegoat.
Yeah.
Whenever you get caught up in some situation, you just blame it on those folks. Right? What did you find out?
The age of consent is 16. I'm more underwhelmed by their punishment for breaking those rules. Between ages of 13 and 15 can result in prison sentence of 1 to 5 years, and under 13 sentence can be 2 to 7 years in prison. Romania's light on that. No wonder it creates a culture of just debauchery. Holy smokes, that's insane.
Yeah. So play a little bit more of the other video, and we're gonna give Tate his opportunity to respond with the response he put out to the media today. Go ahead.
So Vivian's been with me 6 years.
He's been with Vivian for 6 years. Right?
Hold it back. This is now I will say that perhaps this is the most damning because this is a girl that he initially got allegations with. She came out in support of him, but as people are looking at the timelines, it starts getting real funky. Now, I would just say maybe she just lied about her age as a grown-up here, but this is still pretty shocking. Go ahead and play this.
The law is in America. 18?
It's 18 usually. You get married at 16.
All right, in Romania it's 16, sorry. And I only get away with that because the girl is 6 years, plays along. So Vivian's been with me 6 years.
So he's been with Vivian for 6 years, right?
Because Vivian's younger. Melissa's like 28, Vivian's like 21.
Vivian's 21. And at this point, he's been a girlfriend for 6 years. It means that they met when she was 15 years old.
Is Vivian's younger?
Is away from me. No, I want a virgin wife at 16 who's going to obey me. That's what I want.
I was contacted by Andrew Tate, the older of the Tate brothers, 3 years ago when I was just 16.
This is who I think compiled all this footage, Milk Bar TV, so shout out to him. Play the rest of this.
They cover a lot of the Tate stuff and they do a good job. So if you want to keep up with that, make sure you check them out. So going back to Candace's theory in the beginning about how people who produce adult content want you to keep getting into weirder and weirder stuff. So eventually you're doing something illegal. And if they have that dirt on you, then they own you. You know, you're under their thumb and they basically have control over you. So I don't know why you couldn't apply that theory to Andrew Tate, who's known for making adult content, who's compared himself to Jeffrey Epstein, who is obsessed with money, power, and influence, and has had access to some high-profile people like Candace's husband. You know, so if you apply that here, it makes you think maybe he made sure to get some dirt on her husband. I mean, I'm sure Tate is always thinking 2 steps ahead, and we've seen this with P. Diddy and Epstein and situations like that. Like, if you're going to have high-profile clients, you're going to make sure to get some dirt on them, because then if you go down, they go down as well. And then this would explain why Candace is suspiciously overly defensive of the Tates, because it's like she's defending her husband as well. And, you know, it makes you wonder. I mean, I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but
just asking questions. We're just all asking questions here,
asking
guys.
questions. You know, like, why was Candace defending a registered sex offender on her podcast who was convicted of abusing...
Now, this could be a whole separate video, but this is really dark. She goes after one of the victims and then basically in her attempt to run interference for Tate ends up kind of caping for an actual convicted PDF file. Go ahead.
2 young girls. To me, that's just kind of strange, especially considering how outspoken she is about this issue. So she did this when she was talking about one of Tate's alleged victims. She did an 1.5-hour podcast, basically just trying to discredit them. And one of the girls who was accusing Tate was also the victim in a few other cases. And one in which was when she was 15. Her and another girl were abused by a yoga instructor, and he was sentenced to 24 years. You know, he was convicted. But Candace and the Tates try to act like this guy was set up because the girl allegedly lied about her age, which, even if that's true, is still illegal. But Candace tries to defend him and act like this girl can't be trusted because she lies about her age, which is insane to say about a 15-year-old. And what's even crazier is Candace refuses to say the predator's name out of respect for him, I guess.
Young women who are have encounters with PDF files tend to be marks for other PDF files. They can spot it. They can understand the issues.
Yeah.
And even if this young person lied about her age, that's still on the dude who committed the PDF file acts with her. That's not right. She's a child.
Yeah.
She's a minor. Go ahead.
I'm not going to say his name at all, but yet she says the name of the minor like 100 times. And Candace starts by reading this statement from the Tates where they claim the girl's the predator because she has a history of getting in relationships with men in order to take advantage of them and extort them.
According to them, again, if you want to take their word for it, Abby is a predator who has a long history of baiting men into sexual relationships for the specific purpose of destroying their lives. She has a chain of victims going back several years to when she was a minor. Her modus operandi is as follows. She devises sophisticated narratives to elicit compassion and sexual attraction from unsuspecting men. She uses these men as hosts, taking what she wants for personal, emotional, and economic gain. A serial extortionist and blackmailer who preys on successful men. On multiple occasions, she has accused innocent men of horrific crimes, resulting in their unjust incarceration. The case involves a man who I am not going to name, and the only reason I'm not going to name him is because at the time of the allegations against him, Emma was in fact a minor, and that of course is relevant. So we just
she's gonna name the victim.
That's insane.
That got this dude arrested, charged, but not name the dude that committed the crimes against her. This is craziness.
Here and not expose his name so people can look up the case because, as I said, she was underage at the time. Essentially, it was believed that she was having sexual relations with him, and the court found that to be true. And he is now been sentenced to 24 years in prison. Why is that relevant? Because
but I'm not going to say her name. I'm not going to say his name. I'm going to say her name because she's one of the people that has additional charges.
People are alleging, which we are going to get to, that she lied about her age and that she lies about her age repeatedly. And though, despite the fact that he is perhaps not a moral man, he did fall victim to her lying. Throughout this episode,
He's
by the
not
way,
a moral man. He's an actual. Oh my gosh! All right. So let's let you can close this. So you guys can check out that video. That's from what's the channel here called? Too
lazy to try.
Too lazy to try. Yeah, a lot of people don't know this stuff about Candace Owens, but go and watch her actual interviews with Tate. Watch the two she has with Tate, the one she has with Tristan. She's been consistently caping for these guys. And she's married to someone that I want to say they got engaged within like a month of being together. The dude is her like massive elite from Europe. And so she's been on this weird stuff. So when she starts talking about the pews, when she's talking about all this other craziness, it, gives you something to think about. Now, again, more profanity in this.
Had your kids, had your wife.
Explicit, explicit.
So we're going to look at Tate's response to this and just how flawed the response is here. It's such a flawed, I almost feel like he's insulting our intelligence with this response. Go ahead.
Listen to me. I moved to Romania 10 years ago, and I found an amazing country full of beautiful people. And I told the whole world about Romania. If you mention the name Romania anywhere in the world, they'll say, Andrew Tate lives there, Andrew Tate lives there. I've done nothing but promote this country. I've done nothing but say,
okay, so first of all, how is any of that relevant to this?
I've boosted tourism.
I've boosted tourism. When people think Romania, they think Andrew Tate. Okay, cool, man. You like Romania.
Things about Romania endlessly. And when I did this, people would say to me, if Romania is so nice, if it's so safe, it's so beautiful, why has it got such a bad reputation? And I said, well, there's probably a few bad actors, a few bad people who destroy the...
Money Daddy on his shirt is crazy.
A little bad timing with a picture of himself.
That's great. What are we doing? You did not read the room. Money Daddy or Zaddy?
Or something.
Did not read the room. Go ahead.
There's probably a few bad actors, a few bad people who destroyed the entire reputation. Like the few fools at DCOT who just came along and told us that the mothers of our children are somehow human trafficked. I've been nice, I've been patient, I've played the game, I've respected the judiciary, I've gone to every appointment on time. But they bust in my house again.
Okay,
and now
point one. The mothers of our children have been trafficked. That's crazy. Now, let me just say this. I personally know someone that was involved in the ism. You may have met this person. I personally know someone that was involved in the ism that had a child with their bottom B. So to act like, I can't believe they would think that I would have a baby with my own prostitute. Do you know how common it is in that world for someone to be involved with and to have kids with the women that work for him?
Mm-hmm.
This is outlandish. That he again, I really feel like he's insulting our intelligence. And the person I'm talking about, by the way, has made it out of the life. He's cleaned it all around. He's now he started going to church, turned his life around.
Let's go.
An entrepreneur, crushing it, doing really, really well. So if I personally know someone involved in this that has for you to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they think that my kid's mom is not, there's no way she could have been trafficked. Really, dog?
Yeah.
And by the way, that word traffic just means pimping now. He does e-pimping. He's self-admitted to e-pimping. Traffic does not mean you tied somebody up and threw them in the back of a van.
Yeah.
That's not what that means. All right, go ahead.
I'll come along saying there's 35 victims. You know, all 30 of those girls, 30 of them have statements in our defense. 30 saying we've done absolutely nothing wrong.
Okay, now, so now his second argument is, hey, these women have statements in our defense. Okay, one, he's assuming that we don't think that people can be bought.
Yeah.
Two, he's ignoring
Stockholm Syndrome.
Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah.
So one, he's acting like we're so stupid that we don't know that someone can buy someone's allegiance. Two, that Stockholm Syndrome doesn't exist, where people of all sorts of situations, abusive situations, don't develop weird affinities to their abusers.
Yes.
And furthermore, I still don't understand why Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, who are supposed to be these hardball journalists and who are going to speak up and speak truth to power,
break from the man,
have never actually approached him about the things that came out of his mouth regarding the very things he's being charged with.
Yeah.
And now the second set of charges are also things that came out of his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
How does that work? What is it? Where's the disconnect? Go ahead.
2 more of the mothers of our children, and 2 more have never even been to Romania. I've never even been here.
That doesn't mean you didn't attempt to get him there.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean there's not documentation of you attempting to get him there.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Found random girls we knew in other countries and made them sign pieces of paper. This is a setup. It's absolutely disgusting. Fair play to that judge who saw through the bullshit and let us free. And also, one more thing. The media is complicit. All of you are. When they first threw us in fucking jail, when they first put us in there, you're all running around saying human trafficker. None of you said, where's the evidence? Where's the proof? Where's the pictures?
We just looked at how many minutes of evidence? And that's not even, that's just what you said out of your mouth.
Yeah.
That's not counting whatever they got on these wiretaps, whatever they got on your daggone, the phones that they confiscated from you, the information, the records they have, the internet tracking they've done. That's just the stuff you've said publicly on podcasts to promote your pimp and hose degree.
Yeah. 15, 16, 18, whatever they
what's the 15? What's the consent here? 18 in America? Oh, yeah. 16 in Romania. You said this. You said these things.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
yeah. If self-snitching was a person.
Yeah. 100%.
Go ahead.
Where's the videos? None. 3 years later, they do the same fucking bullshit. And you're all sitting there going, human trafficking. I'm not a human trafficker, clearly. If you human traffic someone, there is evidence. This is a setup. It's a stitch up. The 3 prosecutors at D-Call in my house, I said, why are you here? There's no case. They said, there's a case if we make one. This is a fucking setup. All of it is. And listen, quiet.
All of it is? All of it? Every single bit? None of it is true? You've never confessed to these things? You've never talked about these things publicly? There's no precedent. There's no facts. There's no... All of it is made up. All of it is. This is why I think he really thinks he's the smartest man in the room, and I think this is going to be his Achilles heel.
Yeah, do you think they're a little shaken up now?
I think so. I mean, look at how he's responding. Look at how he's lashing out.
Before it used to be like, oh, I'm pretty confident I can get myself out of this.
He's sweating, bro.
And now he seems stressed. You know, and I don't want to be the guy that's like, why are you mad? Look how mad he is.
He's mad because he's fighting for his life, and he knows they actually may have something this time.
That's what I mean. Is that now it's sticky? So it's like at the same time, why you know, if you go, why are you mad, bro? Sometimes it's condescending. I think it's valid. I think it's valid in this situation because the first time he seemed confident, and now he seems stressed.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, pull it back a little bit. I want to hear what this reporter said to him because his reporter said to him, and he got even more irritated. Listen.
All of it is. And listen, quiet. I'm going to talk to you, sir. Be quiet. Be quiet.
Oh, the money laundering. Okay, so that's another charge. So you got the charge of money laundering.
Yeah.
Money coming in illegally, being cleaned. You have the trafficking of bringing people over from other countries across state lines to do work, right? And now you have that some of these people were potentially underage in the countries that he was trying to pull them in from, even though the age of consent is 16 in Romania.
Yikes.
So you got 3 really serious things. Now, he probably never confessed to the money laundering publicly, but everything else he's talked about openly.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
This is a setup. It is done on purpose, and it is designed to come up with the most heinous possible crimes to slander our name. And every single Romanian citizen should be disgusted that they are spending millions of euros.
Okay, so I'm curious. This is why it's dangerous, and I've talked about this, why it's dangerous to take advice from someone like Andrew Tate. Because how do you think he became wealthy initially? Like, how do you think he became wealthy initially? You think he became wealthy in an ethical way?
Nah.
Right? He became wealthy through webcam girls.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you might say, that, well, I don't think that's trafficking. That's you and I don't get to decide what is and isn't trafficking.
Yeah.
You might think it's not trafficking, but according to the legal definition and the new international definition and what the definition is here, let me give you a good example. I grew up with rough guys. We'll just say that. And a lot of what happened is the shift that happened in the 2000s is a lot of people stopped selling drugs and they get their girls to sell themselves for them, like their girlfriends, their child's mothers, or their girlfriends that became their child's mothers and kept selling themselves. This is like real stuff. This stuff that really happens. Okay, and it's sad, and it's not. And I'm not saying this to normalize it.
Yeah.
And in Oceanside, you guys can Google this. Matter of fact, Google this right now. Oceanside, massive raid, multiple times, of a lot of people getting swept up and caught up on this stuff. Meaning guys that were in what they thought was a consensual relationship, and thought their girlfriends were consensually selling themselves, would get caught up in these raids. This one just happened in 2024, 46 people. This is local to me. Do you guys understand? This is local to me. These are folks that I've known through the area. Okay, and this is how they would get caught up. I'm gonna explain this to you so you're not confused on what this is, because this is not what you think it is. They're in what they believe is a consensual relationship. In this relationship, their girlfriend or their child's mother is willing to sell themselves for them. As they're selling themselves for them, they cross into Vegas. Vegas is 3 hours away.
Yikes.
So now you're not just catching a pimping and pandering charge in California. You drive to Vegas and she sells herself in Vegas? That's trafficking, dummy.
Yeah.
They didn't know this. Over and over, you get a bunch of dudes swept up, low petty crime gang members swept up and caught with trafficking.
And this was 2011, so this is
the big one. Yeah, this is the big one. This is like I knew multiple people that got hit in this raid.
38 individuals.
38 individuals. Most of these folks from West Side Crip, which is an Oceanside gang, right? I know people personally, people that have been in my house, people that have been in my home. I know people personally that went away for years. Multiple people that went away for years because they didn't understand that what they were doing was no longer just pimping and pandering. The moment you cross state lines into Vegas, that's trafficking. Now, maybe Andrew Tate didn't know that. Maybe he didn't know that. Maybe he didn't understand what was happening. And maybe he thinks because he has children with these women that therefore it's somehow less intense or less bad or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is, hey, the definition changed. Why? Because they don't want people involved in this sort of stuff. They don't want people doing this sort of stuff. It's exploitive. It's sad. It's demeaning. It's dehumanizing. Many of these folks grow up to have families. Many of these folks grow up to eventually get in church, turn their life around. Many of these folks have daughters. A lot of this content stays on the internet indefinitely.
Yikes.
It's very hard to take this stuff off the internet. It's humiliating, right? And so they, I don't mean the pews for the record.
Yeah.
The officials don't want this sort of stuff happening. And they definitely don't want it happening in Romania, which is a developing nation. I don't know if they're recently a part of the EU, but I believe they're a part of the EU. They don't want this sort of stuff happening. So this stuff happens. It's been happening for years. And yes, I'm sorry, guys, I didn't grow up in the suburbs. I didn't grow up in Mayberry. I know multiple people that went away for this sort of stuff for decades. Multiple close friends that spent decades of their life, the majority of their adult life, in prison. That's my backstory. You may not know that about me. And so I've seen this happen firsthand. And so the folks that I know caught up in this, did they know? Did they know that they were trafficking? No, they didn't know. So maybe the one caveat I would give to all this is perhaps Tate didn't know. Perhaps Tate didn't know, got himself went way over his head, despite all the disgusting things he's saying. And now he has to deal with the consequences of this stuff. And as far as I'm concerned, anyone running interference for him while at the same time speaking out against, anyone running interference for him while talking about how disgusting the LGTB is, how disgusting the trans ideology is, but you're running interference for him? Anyone that's okay with women being treated this way, and women being loverboyed or manipulated into this, but you're against whatever, you're a hypocrite to me. I don't care if that's Candace Owens. I don't care if it's Tucker Carlson. I don't care who it is. We got to have just scales. You can't just be on some, the Matrix bad, Mossad and the Zionists controlling the world and pulling the strings. And yet all along, you're platforming this dude and you're letting him, how many more videos she got about this dude?
This is streamed 1 hour ago. All of you are complicit. Must watch. Andrew Tate unleashes on the media than the one yesterday, which was the raid. The Matrix strikes again.
This is y'all hero.
Ugh.
This is y'all hero. I've been consistent about her.
If Andrew Tate pulled up to your church, you would want him arrested.
You wouldn't let him near the children's ministry.
No.
You wouldn't let him near your young adults.
You'd be so mad if there was a guy in your church that was from another country
actively making money off of this,
that was
or within the last few years,
from Western developed countries, then moved to more obscure countries like Romania, you find out that the age of consent there is 16 and he hooked up with 16-year-olds.
Right.
But now he's back in America and he's hanging out at your church. You'd be so mad. You would be like, you wouldn't be having him around.
Yep.
And so this like flippant, follow the laws of the land. If the laws of the land say 16, then he's in the clear.
Consent, 16 in Romania.
And he's not Christian. He's not judged by the same standard, right? And he's doing more good for culture today than
This is a sickness.
That's a sickness.
It's literally a sickness. It's a mind virus. It's a mind virus. Has said, when people tell you who they are, believe them, and Tate calls himself a pimp, among other things.
Hello. That's it.
So all the tater tots, real quick. Wait, let's just all the tater tots, anyone objective, can we just all drop a 1 in the chat if we just all agree that he was a pimp and he self-professed to be a pimp? Drop a 1 in the chat if we agree with that.
Well,
drop a 1 in the chat.
In hindsight, would he use that language?
Drop a 1 in the chat.
He's a comedian.
Tater tots. I want to hear from the tater tots specifically. Here's the punchline. The definition of pimping has changed to trafficking. That's why Diddy has allegations of trafficking. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
The definition of trafficking includes pimping and pandering when it involves crossing people's state lines. So if you think Diddy was trafficking, if you're being consistent in your logic, you would have to then acknowledge that what Tate was doing also falls under the guise of trafficking.
Wow.
That doesn't mean he's been proven of that in a court of law yet.
Mm-hmm.
But there's 3 different cases of stuff.
But I wouldn't invite him onto the podcast. Let's leave it at that. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be Candace Owens out here. The Matrix.
Guys, to everybody who pulled up.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
I am working on bringing a passage of scripture to my memory, okay? And we're going to do it together. You too, Zach. Don't leave just yet. Numbers chapter 6:24. Okay, this is a prayer to the Israelites, but I believe it extends to us. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face towards you and give you peace. All right, guys. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys. We will be back next week. Join us over on Patreon. There's some cool stuff over there. And if you don't have the 7-day trial, sign up for it. Or go and get our Bless God Leadership Planner or our leadership journal. All right? Love you guys. Peace. After the incredible success of our Bless God prayer journal, many of you guys began to ask for something that had a planner. And so we combined our Bless God prayer journal with a brand new leadership planner that jam-packs the same things from our prayer journal with a planner, goal setting, leadership meeting, and notes. With the next pages, you can see different sections right along here of this leadership planner where you can start out with actionable goals, 12 months of calendar, our original prayer journal prompts, our leadership journal with the proven problem solution framework, and of course, just free write notes. This leadership planner is based off of Matthew 25:14-30, which of course is the parable of the talents. The vision of the planner is to help you make the most of your time, talent, and treasure. Head over to blessgod.shop and get yours today. All right? I'll see you over there. Peace.
Ruslan